Hi everyone. Welcome to the fifth week. We are almost at the end where we are going to put everything together and see how our application actually goes like, right? So without wasting any time, I'm just going to recap on what we did last week so that we can carry on with today's session. Today's session is not that long. We're just going to focus on password recovery and account management, right? To ensure that our account is secure, we can retrieve our password, and we're going to use the most secure way of doing that. So yeah, firstly, let me just share my screen. Right, just give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Okay, great. So yeah, I've allowed the attendees to be able to interrupt and ask any questions. So do feel free to ask any question if you do have a question, so that we can have a session that is very engaging and we can dive deep into some of the concepts. So now, before I start, I just want to quickly take you down um, the changes that I've done from the previous code that we've had. I just added a few things. I will let me increase the so that you can see properly. All right. All right. Please let me know if you can see properly because I want you to be able to see and follow the code. Let's do this one as well. All right. So now, without wasting time, today we are going to be dealing with password recovery and account management. So with this said, we are going to be able to have a functionality that says if you've forgotten your password, there's a way that you can retrieve your password and reset your password. So that's basically one of the features also that is very common, is a common feature across a lot of applications that we use on a daily basis. So today we're going to be implementing that. And then for us to start doing that, there's a few things that you need to take into account before we can get into the code. So if you remember very well, I spoke about this file where we store our sensitive data. This is where we store our secrets for our application, right? So right now at this point, I've got the database credentials, and I also have the email credentials, of which is what I'm going to be using to recover passwords, reset the password, etc., etc. So the reason I went with Gmail is because it's straightforward. I'm using the Gmail engine, the features from Gmail, to use my personal account to send out the emails for you when you request to reset your password or recover your password. So now another important thing is this here, email password. I'm going to show you how you can do all these things. So because I'm setting up using Gmail, Gmail is very clever when coming to security. So they allow you to create what we call an app password, right? So what they mean by an app password is that you don't use the password that you use to actually access your Gmail, your inbox. They actually allow you to create an application password that you can use for your applications that you link with your Gmail account. So in this case, I created this app password for me to be able to use the services that my Gmail account has. In this case, is to allow me to use Gmail's engine to send out emails to whoever is requesting a password reset, right? So now, for instance, in this case, and then now I've got a front end URL. So why do I need a front end URL? Because when I send out an email with a URL link for you to reset your password, I need to know where my front end is running. So in this case, it's running on localhost on that port, and then I'm just going to concatenate the extra path that I want the user to be redirected to when they click the link that they receive on their email address. I'm sure you've seen this before. When you want to reset your password, you usually get a one-time link on your email. And then once you click on that email, it's going to take you to a place where you can enter a new password because they've already verified that you are the person that requested that reset URL, right? So yeah, you will see this in action. And then I've added the code where we are going to be doing that. So before I can get into the code, let's go to Gmail. So now within your Gmail account, if you want to use Gmail, remember you are not sorry about that. You are not forced to use Gmail. You can either use Outlook as well, or you can even use your own custom domain email, right? So, but now when you use your own custom domain email, you're gonna have to set up your SMTP ports. You're gonna have to set up your security mechanism. Are you gonna be using TLS or just encryption or whatsoever? So because of Gmail, it has already taken care of those for us in the background within the Gmail services. That's why I opted to use this for simplicity of this lesson today. So basically now, let's go to Gmail. So I'm just going to go to Gmail, and then I'm going to go to manage my Google account. And then you will see it's going to take me to this particular page here. And then I'm just going to say app password. I'm going to search app password there, and then it's going to show it. And then I'm going to click on app password. Then from there onwards, it's going to want me to, it's going to actually want me to re-enter my password just to make sure that it's my account, it's no one else. So I'm authenticated truly, so that it ensures that it's me. Another security feature that is added. Even if you are logged in, it's still gonna ask you your password again, just so that it's sure. So you will see here now I've got my app passwords, right? So I've set up NoteStack app password. I created this today when I was doing testing for the application to ensure that it works. So in this case now, you will only see it once when you create it. You won't see it ever again. So because I've already created it, let me just delete it. You'll see that I've deleted it. So now I'll just enter NoteStack again. Then you will see now that if I say create, you will see that now it creates that password there, right? So I just have to copy that password there. Then immediately you click done. The password, you will not see it ever again. And if you want to recreate a new password, you just come and delete and recreate a new one so that you can reuse it, right? So I'll just come in here, and then I'll just paste the new one there, right? So this is another feature from Google that protects your main inbox and other Google services, because it will only know, Google will know that if you are using that one-time password it created for you, you are only using it to authenticate via an application. So even if you use that to try and get into my inbox or my other Google Drive and whatnot, you will not be able to do that. You will only be able to authenticate from an application, of which in this case it's the NoteStack full stack application that we are writing now. So without wasting time, we've set up our password on Google, and then I've pasted it there. And remember, if I push to GitHub, all of this you will not see on my GitHub repo. So of which, again, that is a great way of protecting our secrets. And then by the time you try and want to access my Gmail account, by the time you're done with the lesson, I would have deleted this password and you won't have access to it. So even if you have access to it, you're only able to authenticate using my Gmail account, and you don't really have access to any of the services that it offers, right? Now, since we are done here, so basically now what I want to take you through now, I want to take you through the models, right? I've made some changes to our first model. Remember, our first model only contained name, surname, email, password, the role, and these two fields here. The fields where it updated at, and the other one is you'll see there updated at and created at. So we didn't have these two fields here. So I've added these two fields to help us in terms of account recovery and account management, right? You'll see I've added password reset token and password reset expires. You will understand as we go through the code why I added those two columns into our model. So you'll see that the data type there is a string, password reset token. So when I reset a password, I'm going to create another token that I'm going to populate in this field. And then also I'm going to create the timestamp when the token actually expires. If the token expires after 15 minutes, it's going to check that, oh, the token has expired. The time has actually elapsed for the token to be used. So that link would have expired. You won't be able to reset your password until you request a new link to reset your password. So that's the purpose of these two fields that I've added here. So for instance, if you see on your Facebook account, they'll send you a link to reset your password, and then they'll tell you after 5 minutes, the link will not work because they set a time frame for that to beef up the security, you know, protecting the links as well for reusing the links over and over again. So yeah, that's basically that. So I've added that, the two columns there. Now, I've added a few lines in terms of our password. So now in terms of our password, we've got the reset endpoint, right? We're using the reset endpoint. And then we also have the recover endpoint, right? So when we are using the recover endpoint, you initiate a password recover by sending an email with a recovery token, right? So the reason for this, when we go through the code, you will see that when I want to recover a password, for instance, let me do a little demo. For instance, you see here, I want to log in, but I can't remember my password. I want to log in, but I can't remember my password. Then what's the next step? I forgot my password. So now if I click on forgot password, you will see it's going to take me on forgot password. And then I need to enter my email address so that I can receive the link to reset my password. So that is basically what is happening here. So I will click so that I can receive that one-time link so that I can reset my password, right? Now let's go back to our backend code. So now in this case, because I am entering an email address here, so since I'm entering an email address, you will see on our body here it says I want to request whatever is within the body, and I want the email, which is the email that we would have entered when you want to recover your password, right? So since I've got the email now, what do I want to do? I want to now say I want to find out if the email does exist on our database. Does the user exist? Does a user with that email address exist? Right? I want to find out, and then I'll store whatever value that I receive from this query here into that user. Then now, if the user does not exist, I'm going to return user not found, right? Now, if the user does exist, I'm going to generate a token and the expiration time. So what happens is that I'm going to create the token using what? I'm going to get the user ID, and then I'm going to go into my secrets files, and then I'm going to take my JWT secret, and then I'm going to create a token, and it's going to expire in 15 minutes, right? And then now const, I'm going to say expires at, and then I want to do what, the new date, right? The new time. So that's what I do, date now plus the 15 minutes. This is the calculation. So now I want to say from 15 minutes from when I've created the token, it should expire. So this is the formula to do that. From now, in 15 minutes, expire the token so that it can no longer be valid. You need to recreate a new one, right? So in this case now, when it's like this, after that, I save the token and expiration date to the database. So now I'm going to update the user. What do I update? I put in the token in that field there. If you remember correctly, I'm going to put the token that I've created here in this field there. So I'm going to populate that with the token. Then here I'm going to populate that with the time that I created that, so that it can count down the 15 minutes, so that after 15 minutes it expires, so that I cannot reuse it again, right? So that's basically that. So now you will see here I'm doing that. So I'm passing the values that I was calculating here and the token that I've created. I'm updating the user, the current user that I've entered the email address here. I've gotten the email address here, right? So now after that, the recovery URL, this is what you're going to receive in your email address, right? So this is the recovery URL. So what do? I go to process.env, I get the front end URL, of which is this one. This is where my front end is running. So in your case, when you deploy this into a production environment, it's going to be your domain name as your front end, and then whatever other endpoint values you want to put there. You understand? So now, for instance, now we are running into a local host, but on that port 3001. So that's basically that. So now if I go back here, you'll see that now I'm taking that from that file, and then I'm concatenating a reset password, right? I'm adding to the URL from the main one that our application is running on. I'm adding that, and then I am saying I'm also passing a token. The token is which one? The one that I've just created now using what? My user ID, the user ID of the person who's trying to reset their password, right? And then I pass that token there. You will see the token also on the URL. That is why when you get a URL to reset your password, you usually get this long URL that you don't understand with funny characters. This is where it's coming from, right? And then now I've got const mail options, and then I'm going to say the email is going to be from who? Molato Sekgobela@gmail.com, because that's what I've set up as here. But then if you're using your custom domain, whatever, if you're using your custom domain, then for instance, it might be here. It might be, for instance, you get no reply at whatever domain you'd have registered, or you might say something like recover password, so that you know that it's a link, a trusted link from your domain that allows me to reset my password. So with this one, I'm just using my Gmail because that's what I'm using to send out the emails, right? So that's basically that. So now you will see now here, the subject is what? Password recovery. And then I'm doing some HTML. I want just to put a paragraph, and then I'll say you requested a password reset. Click the link to reset your password. And then some companies even go further to say, if this was not you who requested the password recovery, click here. If it was you, also click here. So that's another extra security measure that the companies are putting on their platform. I'm sure you've seen that before, that if someone requests password recovery, it will say, if this was not you, please click here. If it was you, click here. That's another mechanism that is added to to this. And then you can also take it a step further with this application and you can add that. So I'm just doing the most basic ones and then you can expand on that. Right. So from there now I'm going to say, I'm going to transport the email now with those options that I've set up there. And then you will see the message password recovery email sent. And then if there was an error, it's going to tell me that there was an error. I cannot do that. Right. So now let's see this in actual action. Right. So let's go back. Let's go to our database. You will see here these two values here. Not sure if you can see. Give me a thumbs up if you can see. I can't zoom in on this one. I don't know why. If you can see these two fields, just give me a thumbs up. All right, great. So these two fields now you will see they're going to get populated because we're going to do the, the password recovery now. So now if I come here, if I come here now and say I want to do a password recovery. So I've already entered my name, my email address, right? So I've already entered my email address. I want you to see that there is no email currently on my inbox that comes from anything, right? So now, if I come back here and then I click, this user is already registered with this email. So now if I click here and I say send email, right, you'll see, and then it's going to say failed to send a recovery email. Okay, what could be the reason there? Let's check. Okay, I'm not sure as to what the reason is. Let's check here. Okay, it's giving some errors. It's saying username and password not accepted. That support, yada, and off playing. Okay, that's the issue. Okay, I don't know what's happening, but it seems Google is denying me to use that. Okay, let's see if we can create another one. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I'm just gonna do that. And then let's go back here. Okay, let's save that. And then I'm just going to do that. I'm gonna run it again. Let's see what the real issue is. Right. So with that done, let's go back to our front end. Right, let's do that. And then I'm just gonna do that. So it's sent. Right. So you will see now it was refusing that password because I had not I think I had not refreshed and rerun the server again. So it still had the old password that I changed on the server. So everything on the backend code, every time you change something, you must stop the server and run it again. So if you remember, I just changed there. I didn't stop the server and run it again. Hence, it was denying me. So you'll see now it's going to say password recovery email sent. Please check your inbox. Now, if I come to my inbox, okay, let's see what's happening. What's the inbox? There we go. So you'll see that it's going to say the email is from me because I'm sending it to myself using the very same thing that I've set up. So don't worry about that. You'll see the subject is saying password recovery. Then it's I'm sending it to myself. It's from Molato.Sekgobela. at gmail.com, still sending to molato.school@gmail.com. So you will see now you requested a password reset. Click the link to reset your password. If you remember, there is the front end URL I was talking about. There is the reset password, then the question mark token, then there is the value of the token. You see the value of the token. I'm sure now you're starting to see something that is familiar that you've used before or you've seen before when you recover passwords. So now this is the link for you to recover your password. There is the token that you need to use, that our application needs to use for it to allow you to reset your password. So if now I click on this, you will see it's going to take me to my that link that I clicked on from the email. Then you will see now it's going to say enter password, and then enter and confirm the password. So now let's just enter a random password. Okay, let me just say, okay. And then if the passwords are not the same, you will see it's going to say passwords do not match. That's another validation that I've added. So these are the the nitty-gritty stuff that you need to take account of. But then if the passwords are the same and I reset, you will see that the password was reset successfully, and then it redirects me to my login page. And then now I can come into my login page and log in using the new password that I've just reset, right? And then you'll see, there we go. Welcome to the dashboard. Whatever, I can edit the details, can change my password again, because now I know the password. I just want to change it so that if anyone knows it, I will have changed, and I can just quickly log out, right? So this is a very important mechanism to be able to recover your account without even calling support for them to get into the database directly and query your user and they reset it for you. This is a way that is self-sufficient and self-manageable for the user to reset their own password at their own time, right? So now, when we send, you will see now when I come, oh, I forgot to actually show you what happens in the database as we are doing all those things. Let's reset the password again, right? Okay, before we reset the password again, if I come back to the link again, I click on the link. Let's say now I click on the link again. The link is going to open, right? And then let's try to reset the password again with that same link. If I try to reset the password again with that same link, it will fail because the link has already been used. So you cannot reuse the link again to reset your password. You need to request a new link to reset your password. So basically, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's request a new password. So you'll see on the database, you've got password reset token and reset expires, right? So now if I come here and I send a recovery email again, let me just delete this one. Those two actually. So if I go back here, you will see it has sent again. So let's just go there. And then you see now we get a new link with a new token, right? Now, if I go to the database, immediately after I've requested a function to recover the password, this is what happens in the database. Do you see the database? What happened? You've got a password reset token that was populated to show that you are trying to recover your password, and then the time stamp to say this is the time when you requested to recover your password, but it's going to count down from 15 minutes from now. After that 15 minutes, then it will expire the token and also that time frame, and then it will clear these two fields in the database, right? So now if I come here and I click on the link and I actually now reset the password. Okay, let me do something that I'll remember. and I reset the password now. So you will see that the password will be reset successfully, and then it will redirect us to the login page, right? So now if I go to the database, now this is what happened in the database. You will see now in the database, those two fields are null again, because now I've done the reset password recovery mechanism. I'm done with everything. Then now it resets them to null again, so that when I request a new link to reset my password, it can populate this again. Then I can utilize that to check if the token has expired, or either the time has expired, or either can I reuse the link again to, you know, change the password again. Can I do that? Of which I cannot do that, and this is another method of doing that. And in most cases, most apps, if you've already used this link, it won't even allow you to open this front end. It will tell you that the link has expired. But because of demonstration purposes, I wanted to show you how it actually works so that you understand it fully. So a good way of doing it would be, if I click the second time on this link, is to check the database before I can render any view. Then if it has expired or it was used before, I just take you to an error page that says, sorry, the link has expired or it was used. Please request another link. You understand? So the reason I did it this way was just to show you how you can actually utilize this and make it work, right? So yeah, that is what I wanted us to discuss today, and to show you this functionality in terms of password recovery, how you can manage recovering your password and resetting your password. Yeah, this was this is the most interesting part with working with passwords, because now you've added another function of using a third-party service like Gmail. You see, this is you adding to your skill set in terms of the tools and technologies that you are using. You're able to use libraries such as the node mailer. Yeah, and you are able to basically build a project in an agile way, because now the way that I'm building this project, I'm using an agile methodology. I'm not using waterfall. Hence, I can go back and reiterate on some of the code that I've written and refactor that code. That cycle, it goes that way. So that is the best way to go about it. I think, let me see if I'm not forgetting anything. And then in terms of the front end, you will see that I've added 2 new pages to our application, because at first we had I added only two pages. I've added this forgot password page, and then I also added the reset one. So those are the 2 pages that I've added. This one, forgot password, this is what I've added. And then the one that you click in your email when you receive your email to actually send, to actually send emails to your whatever, your email. So now with this code, you can literally run it within 5 minutes on your local machine. The only thing you need to do is to change these 2 things here to your own email address, and also create your own app password so that it knows it can utilize that. And then here you need to run your own local server Postgres on your machine, or you can set up a one in AWS. So I'd recommend get accustomed with cloud services. You can even use Google platform, or you can use Azure. They will literally work the same way. So yeah, I think with that said, on the front end, the code that I added was, I added the password reset. This is where when you reset the password, you will see this is where you enter your email and you submit that to request a link to reset your password. So basically, this is where how it looks like. This is the one. This is the page. It looks like that. And then when you click submit, when you click submit here, when you click submit, it's going to send a recovery email, right? And then when you click submit, then it's going to handle that submit there. And then this is where it's going to happen asynchronously. Handle the submit, right? It's going to have an API call to that to say password recover. And how does that happen? It's going to go to your backend API, and then it's going to come to password, and then it's going to come to recover. That's the endpoint. Then it starts doing that. Okay, I'm getting the email from the body request, and then I want to check if the user exists. Then create the token, expires at, update those. I've already explained this code, and then I'm going to send that URL to the email that I've set up here, so that it will allow me to reset my password, right? So that's basically what happens. So here I'm doing API call, post method, my headers, JSON, and then stringify the email, right? JSON. Then from there, you will see set message, gonna say if the response was okay. It gave us true, false. It's gonna be saying password recovery email sent, check your inbox, and then it's going to reset the form. Or else it's going to fail if there is a known error in terms of the email service is not working. It's going to give you that error. If it's just a backend error, it's going to give you that. Then it's going to set that error. Then this is just the styling using Tailwind CSS. So yeah, that's basically it. And then this is some custom code that I've written for the styles, and then I just import that for the success and the errors. Yeah, so that's basically that. And then user dashboard, and then on login page, this is where I added that forgot password link because it was not there previously, so that when I click on that forgot password link, it can actually take me to this page here where I enter the email and send to start the recovery mechanism, right? So another thing that I have added was, yeah, those are the two things where you reset the password. Yeah, after you click on the link, after we click on this link, this the other page that I added is this page, this one here. After you click on it, this is where it's gonna take us, and then so that I can enter the passwords. So that's basically that. I will push. I've pushed the front end code and as well as the back end code on that. So you'll just need to really remember on how to set up the .env file, because you will not find this file there. You will need to set up this. So what I suggest is, let me do this actually. Let's see if I can put it. Okay, I'll put it in the README file. Let me put it in the README file. But I'll just remove these things so that at least you know what you must have within this file. I'll just remove these ones. This one doesn't really matter. So yeah, I've set it up. I've put it in the README file. So when you want to create the .env file, this is where you'll get what you need to set up in the .env file, in the README file. So yeah, that's why I've set it up, so you can check it out there. I think that's today's lesson, and next week when we finish the whole code, we're going to set up the CI/CD pipeline. Ensure I'm going to add some unit tests just so that we pass some few tests before we can actually deploy the code into production, and then we're going to redeploy that CI/CD pipeline, and then our project will be complete in terms of all the features that we wanted to achieve. And then from there, the sky's the limit. You can expand more in terms of the features. You can build more in-depth dashboards. You can add a blog, add API endpoints that deal with blogs, and etc. etc. So I think with that said, that brings us to the end of today's lesson. And thank you very much. Are there any questions before I close the lesson? Any questions? All right, great. No questions. Okay. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us today. And yeah, we'll hope next week when we finalize the project, you'll be ready to expand on this project and take it further so that you can stand out with recruiters. So yeah, thank you very much, guys, and enjoy the rest of the evening.